Okay, so we're back. Let me do this. So apparently what I was missing is this size. There you go. I just created my table space. I'm in the process of creating my table space. What I'll do is I'm gonna alter user and order unlimited on Arman underscore TBS. Arman TBS. There you go. And then I'm going to grant connect resource recovery catalog owner to Arman. So now if I was to attempt to log in as Arman, so connect Arman. So let me just log out. Okay, so now I'm back to being user 6dbf. And then so basically what I wanted to do was I need to enable my database archive log in my database. So let me do this, shut down a board. Okay, I'm gonna start up my database in map mode. Again, that's the mode that your database needs to be in for you to be able to enable archive log. As well as enable database flashback. There you go. Instance started. There you go, database mounted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to issue the command alter database archive log. Required cannot. Should have done shutdown immediate. Another port. Okay. Shut down. Yep. It's nice. So now. Okay, come on. Okay, alter database. Archive. There you go. Database is archive log mode, and I'm going to issue another command, alter database. Flashback on. And basically, this is just to create my flashback log stream. I'll put the flashback on. There you go, that's database been altered. So I'm going to issue then alter database. Open. So while that is going on, what I'll do is I'm going to get back to. So basically, the first operation I'm going to perform is the flashback database. So I'm going to create an example table, and then I'm going to again create an example table. I'm going to create a restore point, and I'll be able to use a flashback database to restore the database to the restore point that I created earlier. So what I'll first do is I will alter database or alter user OE account unlock. Alter user OE identified by OE. Again, this is gonna be my. I'm gonna be using the example this as my example, one of my example schemas. So let me connect OE, and then so select table name from user underscore tables. So these are the different tables that I have. So what I'll do is let me actually let me do this. Select count from orders. And you know how many rows I have. Select count from inventories. No, that's way too many. Select count from customers. Okay, so what I'll do then again, I'm just gonna stick with the orders table. So it's gonna be from now I'm just gonna issue OE that again using the orders table. I'm gonna be using table OE. So let me go back to my schema. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a table. So I'm gonna issue a create table example. Create table example as select star from OE that orders. So basically what that means is that I just created a table with 105 rows. So if I was to issue the select count from example 105 rows. Boom. Okay. So what I'll do next is I am going to create a restore point. So create restore point. Restore point is going to be RSP1. So if I was to say describe restore point, describe without restore point, I mean restore point. So basically I have access to my SEN, my time, name. So what I'll do is, and also the AN name is restore point name. So what I'll do is select name, SEN, time from $restore point. So basically, these are the details that I need to again make sure that I'm aware of. So what I'll do is I'm actually just gonna open up my trusty notepad, get rid of these previous values. I'm gonna copy, mark, I'm gonna copy these and then paste them. So basically, again, the store point is gonna be RSP1. This is gonna be my SCN number, the store point name, and then the last one is gonna be my timestamp. Okay, so what I'll do is, okay, so I just get a restore point. That's gonna be my V1 from my playback point, my playback point. Yeah. So basically, what I'll do is I'm going to truncate from this table. So truncate table example. So if I was to run that select statement again, I have 0 rows. So what I do now is I will actually quit. I'm going to go into rman connect target. Changing my target. What I'll do is I will first of all shut down immediate. So the database has to be in mount mode for me to be able to use the Flashback database to perform my Flashback database operation. So what I'll do is I will then issue a startup mount. And again, I have three choices. I can restore to either one of these values, and I will actually just go to this one to the database starts up. Okay, so what I'll do now is flashback database to RSP1. So this time I decided to go with a restore point. I could have selected the SCN or the timestamp. Typically, what you'll find is that using timestamp is much more is more user friendly. So what I'm saying by user friendly is typically you just say, okay, if I'm looking at timestamp, today is the 6th. Let me just make sure. Today is the 6th. So how would you just say, okay, 6th of April, 04/06, 2014. Current time is 12:48, so I would say 12:48 00, and pretty much you would just do the same thing here. So it would be month, day, year, and then after that you would say age, 24, minute, second, and that's going to be a timestamp for let's say if I was to basically do a flashback to this point. To right now. So basically the flashback is complete. So what I'll do now is I will here I will actually go to my next slide so I can show you. So the database is the flashback. The database has been flashback, but what I still need to do is I need to open my database in another reset log. I definitely need to open my database reset log. But if you perform a major a flashback database that included a lot of changes to your table objects, then basically it's actually recommended to open your database in read-only mode. So you would say alter database open read-only. So basically by issuing a read-only, then basically you'll be able to go into the database and see if the flashback database was successful. And if it's not, then you can basically just scrap that and perform the flashback database again and make sure that you're restoring it to the right SCN restore pointer timestamp. So what I'll do is my database I know is I only made one change. I truncated one of my tables, so the flashback should be successful. So what I'll do is I'm gonna do after that is open reset logs, and then that should be open after that, and then let me just and by the way, in terms of flashback operations, so flashback database is only flashback operation that you have to perform using RMAN, or basically that requires for the database to be down. Again, so your flashback entire database, so it only makes sense that you would need that other users may have access to that database. So let me do this. Database is now open. So let me quit. I want to return to my SQL Plus. And I'm going to issue select count from example. There you go. It's back to 105. And let me see if I can show you the previous value. So before it was truncated, before it was 0. So basically that's just a flashback on database operation. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to continue on and perform another flashback, and this one's gonna be a flashback table. So basically, in terms of the flashback, performing a flashback table, you cannot flashback a system table. So if I was to say, I'm using sys, right? So if I was to create a table, and then basically if I truncate it, if I delete it, then I'm not going to flashback my system tables. You have to be another user to be able to perform flashback. But to use it to perform flashback operation. So basically, what I'll do is so I'm just gonna create another example. So create example, create table example. As select star from, actually before I do that, drop table example, create table example 1 example, select star from that orders. Okay. So in terms of flashback table, you need to make sure that your table has row movement enabled. So how you check for row movement is you want the statement select row underscore, actually no, drop table example. I was just about to make a big mistake. So I'm gonna connect as OE. Remember I told you the rule of thumb is you cannot create it. You cannot create a table using It's just schema. So I'm connected to this OE. So create table example as select star from orders. Okay. What I'll do is select. I need to again looking to see if my table should not have row movement enabled. So select row movement from user underscore tables, where table underscore name is equal to example disabled. So what I'll do is I need to enable this, so I'm going to issue an alter table example and enable row movement. So now my row movement is enabled. So what I'll do is, let me go to the next slide. So I'm going to create a problem again. So what I'll do is I'm actually going to delete from example. Well, let me just make sure. So select let me do this. Describe orders. Select order ID. Select order ID. Customer underscore ID from orders. Order underscore ID is less than or equal to 100. Let's try 300. Already less than. I'm probably going to regret running this, but there you go, that's what I thought. So 105 rows. So what I do is I'm just going to knock off 101, custom ID 101. So I'll do this. Delete from example where customer underscore ID is equal to 101. 4 was already deleted. So what I'll do now is I'm gonna flashback my table. So actually what I would do is I will issue flashback and just make sure I have 455 flashback table to timestamp to underscore timestamp. I'm going to copy this. Actually, you know what? Another neat thing about using flashback is you can do the timestamp, what I was just about to do, but you can also use the minute, do the minus minute. So what I would do is, so I deleted it as well, right? And it was 12:57 when I checked it, so it's still 12:57. So let me see what I'll do is I would actually do flashback table and flashback table example. And then what you have to do is you need to put minus actually flashback table example to timestamp sys timestamp minus interval it's been 1 minute. Timestamp Okay, flashback complete. Let's see if I can select my. Let's see if I have 101 back. So as you can see, 101 is back. So that's my that's the flashback table. And also what I could have done is I could have also used my so you can also do this. You can figure out what your oldest flashback time is. So again, I prefer to use the minus interval. It's much easier. But if you have to, you can also create a flashback log and figure out basically how much flashback you have stored, and you can also query this value. But this is much more. So in terms of how which one is in terms of which recovery is more user friendly. So this one is more user friendly. This is the next one, and after that, this is probably the SCN. But you would have to make sure that you keep track of your SCN number. So what I'll do is I just confirm my rows, the folders that I deleted that they were restored. And in terms of flashback table, so basically flashback table actually uses redo and undo. So the operation is actually is again the database is online. Basically you so it's just so all of uses are just a regular transaction or it's just a regular SQL statement. So basically again it uses redo data and undo data. And again, so what you can do is if let's say if I had dropped if someone had dropped these rows, and then basically I came back, again my retention, the original retention was 900 seconds, and if not 900 seconds had expired, if I wanted to make sure that that I give myself ample time, just enough time to be able to, to not have to, pass 900 the undo retention. What I would be able to do is I would actually just go to my table space, my undo table space, and so I would just connect to sysdba. I would issue this statement alter table space. Alter table space. Undo tba. Let me make sure. Show parameter. Undo. So I would just make sure that I enable undo guarantee on my table spaces. Undo TBS1. So I would do this. Alter table space. Undo TBS1. Retention guarantee. And that would mean that information that's stored my table space inside my undo segments are guaranteed not to be exported or expunged. Again being that I have undo retention to a different setting. So basically again, so this is how to ensure that your data is not it's not dropped or deleted without your knowledge. So but this is also dangerous because when you do this, you actually just again, so there's no, so the way that undo works, the reason why you have undo is undo is supposed to basically get rid of old data and then allow for you to store new data, right? But if you have undo retention guaranteed, then basically that means that there's no purging. That means that you have all these data, and that means that you need to allocate more and more space to be able to basically ensure that you're able to do all these recoveries. So what I'll do is this is actually not an advised configuration. I mean, I'm not gonna say that, but basically just be mindful of that's the drawback if you need to allocate a lot of space to for this aspect of your database. So I'm actually going to take my table space out of retention guarantee and just leave it to my undo retention, the recommended undo retention that I configured early on. Space undo TBS 1 retention no guarantee. basically my table space is back to being just to not being guaranteed, but basically one point me basically my undo retention is back to being the driving basically my configuration for the undo data. So what I'll do for now is I'm gonna minimize this, and actually what I'll do is I'm gonna pause right here, and then I'm gonna pick it up. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.